Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ageless Lounge. Tangled Silvers, Robin Sauls here. I want to introduce you today our guest, Farah Hurdle at Grey Blending on Instagram. People, welcome, Farah. Welcome to the day.
Hi, Robin. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm excited you're here with us. Well, there's so much I want to talk to you about, but let's start off with the question I always ask at the beginning of each of these episodes, and that is, what does it stir up for you when I tell you I believe you're an ageless woman?
I love this topic because I talk about this with my clients all the time, especially when I'm encouraging them to embrace their silvers. Age is just a number, and we can be whatever we want to be, whenever we want to be. We can dress however we want. We can wear our hair however we want. We can do any physical activity that we want whenever we want. There's 80-year-olds that are jumping off cliffs and, it's just a number, I feel like. So even recently, I'm 49 this year, and recently I've been finding my inner 15-year-old again and my inner teenager, and what did she love and how did she dress and why did she wear those things that she loves so much? And I still am wanting to do all of those things. So I think it's just a number, right?
I call that the paper dolls, right? Like I feel like in my 50s, I started playing with paper dolls again, but it was me, right? I got to try on different outfits. I
Yeah.
started not being stuck in the same things. Like it was this experimental time, and I can remember as a little girl loving dressing my paper dolls. I mean, I would spend hours creating
Yeah.
costumes to put on my paper dolls or my Barbies, making Barbie clothes.
Yes.
Although I kind of don't want to admit that I used to play with Barbies, but yes, I used to play with Barbies. I love doing all that stuff, and I
I
think
love
it's
Barbie.
that childish feeling that when we can't, when we never leave it, it's just kind of that, again, like I said, age is just a
Yeah.
number. It doesn't have anything to do with who you are. It's more your spirit in my mind for describing how you are embracing the agelessness. But let's talk. I really wanted you to come on here because you are at Grey Blending. You're a stylist who specializes in gray blending. And I think it's so important. I want you to kind of share like, why did you specialize in gray blending? Because a lot of hairstylists don't.
Yeah.
Rather, they weren't taught it at one point in time, but a lot of them don't necessarily specialize in it. So if you are a woman wanting to embrace your natural hair or wanting to do gray blending, sometimes you don't even know where to start to look. And so I would love for you to share with us what it was about gray blending that made you jump all in for it.
I know. I'm 100% in. I do have my super loyal lingering root touch-up ladies that still come to me that I still have in my chair, but I'm not taking any new root touch-ups anymore. I just strictly in gray blending because I have found, well, I've been doing hair for over 25 years, and I started gray blending my clients about 10 years ago. The reason I started doing that is because I found that my clients that were getting the root touch-up were always unhappy. They were unhappy when they came in for their appointment because they could see the line of demarcation and it was getting brassy.
Mhm.
They were unhappy when they left because then it was darker at the root, their skin was stained. There was this whole like, they were unhappy a week later. They would text me a week later and say, I can already see my roots. And I would be like, yeah, our hair grows on average quarter of an inch a month. Like that's not going to go away. It's only
Yeah.
going to get worse. And so I became responsible for being in this business. We're doing this to make people happy. We want to make people feel beautiful. We want people to feel good.
Right.
This is why we love our job so much, or why I love my job and being in the beauty industry and being a hairdresser. I want people to feel good about themselves. I want people to feel beautiful. I also, at the same time, I started doing this, I had a little girl, and I had two children I have my two children, and I became busier and busier as a working mother. And I started having limited time for myself. And I started seeing these mothers having limited time. And with how often all of these women know that are getting their roots done, they have to come in from every 2 weeks for the most high maintenance clients to every 6 weeks, really is the longest you can go. And it's time consuming and it's financially a burden. So
Mhm.
I called that hair jail. And I thought I don't want clients to be in hair jail anymore. This is crazy. There's so many other ways we can tackle these grays that people have, to have an easier way of life, a more low maintenance lifestyle, but still feel beautiful, not feel old, not feel like they're being lazy with their hair or letting themselves go. I love people's silver hair. I don't necessarily think everyone should be silver, and not everyone is silver.
Mhm.
That's the other fascinating thing that I started finding, is
Yeah,
everyone's patterning is so different and so unique.
absolutely.
And that's almost the beauty in it too, is this unique patterning that people have. So I could go on and on. I'm so passionate. My clients are so happy that I've talked them into it. And now I'm starting to educate other stylists about it, because my business is booming and it's not slowing down.
Well, I think the education piece is key because I think both stylists and the women wanting to embrace gray don't necessarily know what's going on or how to fix it. Or, like you said, they think silver means truly silver, but yet you have to figure out what's going to come out for you, right? Because, like, for in the beginning for me, I can remember talking to a couple things, and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna be more salt and pepper." I'm certainly not salt and pepper. I call it sugar and spice. I've got some really good silvers. I've got some blondes. And still have some caramely tones in here.
So beautiful.
But it was funny because in the beginning, she said I was going to be more salt and pepper. So in my mind, that's what I was expecting. And when I didn't get that, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
huh. Like it was just like this, huh. And I think that's key part of it, is that education piece of it. That it's never going to look like anybody
Yeah.
else's. We're never all going to get the identical shades, especially if you're doing it naturally, right? It's going to be what it's supposed to be for you.
Yes.
And I want you to kind of explain, because I think there's a misconception about gray blending and going natural.
Yes.
So I want to hear from a stylist how you actually explain to somebody that's going, well, I want to go natural, but somebody told me I should gray blend. Like, give us kind of what's the difference between, and what does it really look like?
Yeah, it's confusing for people. And this is why I do consultations with my new clients first in person. I need to talk to people and face to face and see their hair and feel their hair and look at their roots. I need to see what their patterning looks like. And there is a confusion on what gray blending is and what a full transformation gray is too, because a full transformation is like a 10 to 12 hour appointment. It takes a very long time. Not everyone is a candidate for that. You're really trying to erase that brown or red or copper color that's on the outside and get it to be whatever that white or charcoal patterning might be that come out of your head. Gray blending is not that at all. There are people that are very good at that and actually magicians at that. I don't do that. I do 3 to 4 hour appointments for people, and there's 3 sessions. It takes, if people want to be all natural, which not everybody wants to be all natural either. That's part of the consultation.
Right.
If they want to be all natural, it takes about 3 sessions that are 3 to 4 hours long to break up that line of demarcation. Those appointments are spaced 8 to 10 weeks apart. So the whole process is about 5 to 6 months long. During that time, and I can explain this to people, but when people are sitting in my chair for a consultation, they cannot even fathom, they can't even imagine it. But by 5 or 6 months, every time, like clockwork with every client, I've had 100 people go through this. By that 3rd appointment, they go, oh, I actually like what this is looking like. This is actually really beautiful. I actually like my natural color. And I go, see, I told you. It's like this light bulb goes off for people. But those first few months are so difficult and are so hard. And so that's where I come in. I'm coaching them. I'm helping them feel better and feel beautiful. And I'm breaking up that line of demarcation with highlights and lowlights and a toner. And it's really the art of distraction. Gray blending is really just the art of distraction. So it's distracting from that terrible line, which is really the worst thing in my industry. The line of demarcation is the worst thing in my industry. It couldn't be any worse because everyone knows what's going on. Everyone, when they see that line of demarcation, everyone knows what's going on. But when you distract, with so many different colors in there,
Mhm.
you can't really see what's going on. It tricks the eye, and people aren't really sure, is that her natural color or is that what's going on with that? They're not really sure. So that's what's so fun about it, is you can make it beautiful. You can make the process of growing out really beautiful. There's so many ways to do it. You can also do cold turkey, but that can be hard. How did you do it?
I
Yeah.
went cold turkey, but I will tell you, I've always been, at the time I decided to go turkey, I was already kind of I call it straw blonde. I
Oh,
had
very
already been
light.
kind of
Yeah. So
blonde.
it was easier. Yeah.
So yeah, so I didn't have as that line was a
Yes.
lot easier. But I mean, I say it was easier, but, like, for me, because I knew it was there, it still drove me nuts trying to get through that first, like
It's really hard.
I will tell you, it probably took me a good year before I could say I liked what I saw coming
Yeah,
in.
it's really hard. You probably would have been
I
a really
did go
good
through once.
candidate for great blending, because probably just one blend would have helped it so much.
Well, I will share with you, my stylist at the time was really supportive and
Okay.
wonderful, and, so we did a blending where I had all these, like, highlights and lowlights in, and I was very blonde looking at
Yeah.
that time, and then I went in, like, 3 months later, and we were gonna do a
Yeah.
toner, and she was gonna try and match what was coming in, but it turned out to be way darker than what I thought it was going to be in my
Yeah.
mind,
It's hard.
and I came out of that appointment, and I was like, it's so dark. I mean, I came home, bless her heart. I came home almost in tears trying to wash the toner out to see if I could make it lighten it up because it just was like so much darker than what I
Yeah.
expected. And then I was like, okay, I called her back. I said, okay, so here's the deal. I have to go cold turkey right now because I can't have these
Yeah.
stressful moments freaking out at what happens when we're
Yeah.
toning and blending. So I did choose to go cold turkey, and I don't regret
Yeah.
it. I actually released and kind of enjoyed the journey after that when I just said, okay, no, you know what? I'm just going to let my hair do that. But again, that's not for everybody, right? Like I will tell you, I love some of the women that have the really dark demarcation lines, right? Like they're white and
Yeah.
black here. And when they own it, I think it's amazing to watch them because it takes a
Yes.
lot to own that because it isn't like I always think, and tell me if I'm wrong, because you are the hairstylist. I always laugh because I feel like I had to go get my roots covered every 3 to 4 weeks. Sometimes I could push at the
Yeah.
6 week mark because it seemed like my hair grew super fast. But the moment I chose not to color my hair any longer and just let it come out naturally, my hair like went, ha ha, joke's on you. Now I'm going to take forever to grow because it seemed like it took, gosh, I will tell you, it was probably 3 years in before I could tell you I felt like I totally had all the color
Yeah.
finally out.
The rule.
Now, I like my hair longer, so
Yeah. Yeah. When you have long hair, that's about right. Because the rule I say is 1 year to the chin and 2 years to the collarbone. So when I say that to people,
yeah,
they're like,
yeah,
what? Oh my God. Sounds like
right.
so
It's like,
long.
yeah, yeah.
But it's
Well, it's hard to envision because I can remember the decision. Yeah, I can remember the decision of thinking it would be quick. My daughter had a wedding 9 months out, and I asked her and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about going natural. Are you
yeah.
okay? Or, wedding's 9 months away. Or would you prefer I color my hair and wait till after the wedding?" And my daughter's like, "Oh no, mom, do it. Girls my age are paying for it." I'm like, "Okay, sweet." I honestly thought at that 9 month mark I was going to have this full head of silver because how fast I thought my hair was growing. And yet, if you look at those wedding photos, unless you're me and you know right
Yeah.
where my lines are, I don't look like I'm silver in those pictures. I still had a
You look
lot
very
of blonde
blonde.
all over the
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. I
So,
try to explain that to
yeah.
people too, is we're always so much harder on ourselves than others are on ourselves.
Mhm.
So it's just like when we had that
Yeah.
one zit that we noticed and no one noticed it, and then we pointed it out, and then you're like, oh yeah, I see it now. It's the same thing. Like people look at the whole
Yeah.
from head to toe. They're not necessarily looking at one thing on you. So we're so much harder on
Right.
ourselves, and the mental part of it can be so hard. So I do suggest women to have a good supportive group of friends around them. Hopefully their spouse is supportive. If not, I always say I would love to talk to your
Mhm.
spouse and have a little conversation with them and teach them to
Yeah.
be supportive of you. But yeah, there's most women do have a good support system, and that helps. But it's funny too when you do finally decide and your brain does finally decide, then you're like, I just want it to be all silver right now, which is so funny to me that we're
Yes.
so, we just want everything now. And we
Right.
hated these silvers so much for so many years. But then 6 months in, you're like, oh, I just want more silvers. Or the women don't
Right.
have that many, like me. I'm 49 and I love silver
Mhm.
hair, and I have like 10 silver hairs. This is how the world works, right? But when they
Yeah.
do have not that many, and then they're like saying, I wish I had more silver. Can you give me more? So that happens too. And that's part of gray blending also, is where I am creating maybe some more silvers than they actually even have. So
Mhm.
that's what I want the stylists to know, is not to be afraid of this and not to think that they're going to lose business, because my business is so busy and so the wait list is so long. I can't even get everyone in. As soon as I said I'm not doing root touch-ups anymore, boom, my business is blown up. I mean, it's like the demand for gray blending right now is exponentially grown so much, especially since the pandemic, right? Because a lot of us learned at that
Yep.
point what was important to us and what was not important to us,
Right.
prioritizing different things, and time is so much more important to us. And with inflation, the pricing of
Yeah.
things has gone up so much. So definitely making
Right.
our pocketbook a little bit easier at the salon. But people like coming into the salon still. People still want to go feel beautiful and get their hair done. And they still want to
Yeah.
come back to me, even if I have 2 gray blending clients that come in twice a year now for a gray blending session. They come in every 6 months
Yeah.
to get a few blonde highlights in their hair, just to blend their silvers so it still looks blonde, because they have young children. They don't want to be fully silver
Mhm.
yet. They want to still be blonde, and that's lovely. How high maintenance should it
Yeah.
be? But no, their life can be so much simpler. So, yeah, I love it so much.
Well, I love that you're sharing the perspective that, the hairstylists don't need to be
Yeah.
fearful of that, because I think sometimes the conversations when somebody says, "Well, talk to your stylist," and I hear one of two ways. Either the stylist was totally
Yeah.
supportive, right? And totally on board and like, let's do this. Or they've got a stylist that is adamant, oh no, you'll look older. Oh no, you don't want to do that. And we'll actually talk them out of doing it. And then they'll come back and go, well, I really wanted to do it, but my stylist won't let me. And I'll be like, whoa, stop right there.
Get a new style.
Your stylist won't let you. It's a big difference, right? But like it doesn't have to be this battle with everybody if everybody just kind of came to the understanding
That's why
of,
I went to 2 beauty
yes,
schools today. Just today. I went to my beauty
yeah,
school I went to out in El Cajon, San Diego. And then I went to a beauty school in downtown, which used to be a salon I used to work at. And I want to start educating at the beauty schools, because a lot of these clients are coming to me and they're saying my stylist wasn't supportive of this. And so that's one of my first questions.
yeah,
Why aren't you seeing your stylist? Why are you coming to me? Well, my stylist said it wouldn't look good on me.
yeah,
My stylist said I'm too young.
yeah,
All these excuses. And I'm like, oh my God, these stylists don't realize they're losing clients by being unsupportive of what their client wants to do. We're in the business of just supporting
mhm,
our client feel beautiful. If that's what your client wants, we need to support that. So I need to
right.
start with the students.
Well, I think what yeah, well, and I think that that's a good, there's the fear, I think, that I'm going to lose some of the color money because let's face it, I mean, color is expensive, so that is where I'm assuming the majority of income can come from
Well, and when
if you're
you're a
doing cuts,
young
between
stylist,
cuts and
that's your
color.
regular bread and butter. They are coming in every
Right,
4
right,
weeks, and that's your regular bread and butter. So if you're not,
right. But I would tend to right. But I would tend to think, like, for me, the first thing I did was when everybody was going, "Oh, you're going natural. Who are you seeing?" I was sharing my stylist's name because she was
yeah,
supportive of it. So even though I was not bringing her in the income that I had done for the 3 years prior, she was still making income because I was referring her to anybody who asked me about it, right? Because I knew she would support that
yes.
decision. So So there is a way to kind of like off balance both meeting each other's needs, right? Meeting the need of the client by supporting them and meeting your need as a stylist to book your
Yes.
appointments. With this, if you just come together and have the conversations, and someone like yourself is helping to spar it on for the stylist, that you don't have to be afraid of your clients wanting to embrace their
Yeah.
natural hair. I mean, if anything, I spend more money probably now on products than I ever spent before
Right. The
when I go in to take care of my hair,
perfect shiny
right? Like
hair.
there's an
Yeah.
offset.
There's so many
Yeah.
good ones too. It can get overwhelming, that's for sure. But definitely, I think just one happy client is going to tell 10 friends. And that's how my business has
Mhm.
grown the past 25 years, just because I always give honor to my oldest and dearest clients because they told all of their friends to come to me. And my chair was
Yeah.
filled with all of these groups of friends. In fact, that I just went to a wedding of one of them last week, and I sat down at this table of 10 people, and I looked down and my life flashed before my eyes because all of these girls sitting around me were like girls I've known for 15, 20 years. And now they're all getting married. And I was like, oh, my baby girls are all grown up. It's so nice. So it just, it just shows you just make one person happy. And if you do a good job of supporting one person, they'll support your business. And so, yeah, that's part of it.
Well, I'm really excited. I think you bring so much to the table, and I'm going to share. She's going to be out here live with us in September at the Silverhood Sisterhood
Yes, I can't.
Experience. We're very excited to have her joining our conversations and sharing her wisdom with
I can't
everybody.
wait. I love Colorado.
Besides that, she's got something coming on that.
Yes, I love
It's
Colorado.
beautiful
I
out
can't wait
here.
to come to Estes Park, but also see my family in Fort Collins. So I got to shout out Fort Collins too. But I do have.
Yep. Well, and shout out the family,
Oh
the family
yeah.
restaurant real quick,
So
as long
my
as we're talking
family.
local, because shout out the family
Okay. My
restaurant.
family owns Muggs Coffee Lounge, which everyone in Fort Collins should know Muggs because they've been there forever. But they
Yep.
just opened up Maida Trattoria, which I'm so excited. It's our family name, Maida. It's an authentic Italian family restaurant, which I'm going to go visit when I go see you guys in Colorado at Estes Park. I'm going to go eat for 3 days in a row at Maida Trattoria in Fort Collins too, because I love it.
Old Town Fort Collins,
Yeah.
if you're local. Old Town Fort Collins,
Yeah,
if you're
so
local,
we'll be there,
everybody.
but
Go in and tell them that Farah
yes,
sent
yeah.
you. And then
Yeah, so we also have,
share the other thing
yeah,
that
I
you've got coming
can't
up.
wait to share this. Your Roots Are Showing is going to be premiering in San Diego on Monday, September 15th at Balboa Park's Menge Museum. They have a theater there. And we are also, it's a fundraiser for the Tali Fund, which is a nonprofit for a women's school in Nairobi, Africa. And so we're doing a fundraiser for the Tali Fund, for TAGS, the school there. And Ilise, the producer of Ilise Harris of Your Roots Are Showing, will be there. And we are just going to be, I'm inviting students, all beauty school students, hairstylists, all of my clients who have embraced their silvers. It's a documentary, lovely 1-hour documentary about women embracing their silvers and the history of hair color, which is so interesting. She did such good homework on that. And the effects of color on our scalp and how bad that can be for us. So it's such an educational, important message for all of us to share with all of our friends. So
well, and I want to ask you on that, because I'm a big supporter of Your Roots Are Showing. I mean, it's in the magazine. I was fortunate to get to be a part of it. It's such an important message. But what I really got out of it with some of the stuff that was working on it was the fact that I didn't realize how many stylists put themselves at risk. Like, we think about, we discover, oh, we're putting ourselves, but yeah, a lot of stylists are in the statistics because they're subjecting themselves to it daily.
100%. It's definitely not talked about in beauty school because our industry is a business, right? And with what I'm doing with the gray blending and getting people to get color off their scalp is definitely in my industry, probably at not maybe frowned upon. I don't know. I'm sure the color industry is like, hold up, what's Farah doing here talking about getting color off people's scalps? But I think the awareness is important for stylists and for people to know, because I think it's just not a common talked about subject. And the stylists that have been my friends and I that have been doing hair for 25 years, we are starting to use more like friendly, user-friendly colors, and maybe organic, more organic and cleaner color lines. We're really trying to focus more on that. Even the amount of waste that our industry produce, we're trying to be more eco-friendly with maybe the product that we're using and how they're bottling their products. There's a toner I'm using, and they're using an aluminum bottle to have the toner in instead of a plastic bottle. So just the amount of awareness and the endless amount of conversation we should be having about chemicals in our industry is very important to me. So,
yeah. Well, and I want to say to everybody, if you're listening to this, neither Farah or I are against coloring, especially myself. I mean, sometimes people assume because I have this magazine, Tangled Silver, that means I'm anti-coloring. And I'm not. I colored for over 25 years. I'm not anti-color. I'm just anti anyone telling me I have to color or telling any other woman she has to color. I think it's informing yourself with the information so that you can make a decision for yourself on what you want to do, right? If you don't want to color, then don't color. But we shouldn't have to conform to one way or the other, right? It shouldn't be gray is bad, color good, or vice versa, right? Like it's that misconception.
That's part of the message that I share with people too, is I also want people to know that silver hair doesn't mean you're old, because 16-year-olds get silver hair. 20-year-olds have gray, these silver hairs. There's very healthy 30-year-olds with full heads of silver hair. So the message that we should all be just embracing too is that it's just another hair color. And so we shouldn't be shamed for it.
I would say it's 100%. I would say it's just another color in the crayon box, right? And it infuriates me when somebody who's young pays to get silver, right? Pays to go silver, and everybody's like, ooh, oh, she's so stylish. But then another woman who is older will choose to go natural, and suddenly she hears, oh, you're letting yourself go. Oh, you're going to look older. Like, we have to get beyond this assessment of gray equating to old, right? It's got to be, it's beautiful no matter where it's at. And it's beautiful if you feel beautiful.
Exactly. I see all these beautiful silver influencers that I follow on Instagram, and they always like post their hater comments. And I think those people that are saying those things and thinking those things, they're just people that live life with like blinders on. Like they live life like this. If we just like open up, take off our blinders, open up our perspectives, there's so many ways to live life. We don't have to live life just one way. And let's look at all of the possibilities. So yeah, it's just another way of living life. And I think it should be celebrated if women want to do that.
I love that. I feel like we could go on and on. So we probably have to circle back to another time and then pick other topics, because there's so many hair related topics that we could spend all day doing this. But what I want to do is I want you to tell people how they can find the tickets to come to your event in September in San Diego.
Yes.
So tell us that, and then tell us where they can find you to follow you.
Okay, so I am at Grey Blending, and Grey Blending I spell GreyBlending, because I spell gray with an E instead of an A, just because I thought it looked better. I like Grey Blending. I like gray with an E. I don't know why. And then, so the tickets for the show are at Your Roots Are Showing Instagram. Ilise has Your Roots Are Show Instagram, or my at Grey Blending Instagram. And the links are in our bio. It's $35. So if you guys are coming to San Diego, or you want to come to San Diego, it's Monday night, and we'll have some light snacks and beverages, 1 hour, and then a little chat. We'll have a panel afterwards to discuss some of these things we talked about today. But I can't wait to have 3 days with you, and we can just talk about all this stuff for 3 days.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited. So if you're looking and you're thinking you're on the fence, come join us either in Colorado at the Sisterhood
Yeah.
Experience with Farah and I both there, or join her in San
Yeah.
Diego. And Ilise, I mean, I got to tell you all, I love Ilise. She is fun and she's worth coming and seeing. So if you're in the area, this is the prime time to get me to the mind that was behind that documentary
Yes.
that has really
It's
been,
amazing.
I want to say, kind of life changing for a lot of the
I
women.
agree.
So thank you, Farah, so much for coming and sharing some of your wisdom with us. I can't wait to pick you full of all your wisdom when you're here and in person.
Okay.
And we will schedule another one where we'll come back and maybe dive more into specifics,
Okay.
because there's so many ways that
Yep.
you can gray blend.
Yes.
There's natural. There's, what is that,
Yes.
strip
Yes.
technique
Yes.
or
Yes.
technique I've
Many
heard.
tips and
So
tricks.
we need to come
Okay,
back
we
and
can have a part
yeah,
2.
let's come back and have another one where we dive in.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Thank you so much for everybody joining Farah and I. We will see you all next time.
Bye, Robin. Thank you.